Welcome back to Give You the Game with me, Gia Peppers. In the last episode, you watched the first part of my interview with Grammy Award-winning gospel artist Erica Campbell. We had a candid conversation about faith, love, dating, and more. In part 2, we take a deeper dive into unpacking perfectionism, relationships, and more at Erica's LA home. Check it out.
What prayers do you think I should be praying to make space for a real good relationship?
Well, you started off talking about the need to be perfect.
Right.
And I think that is probably damaging so many people's view of themselves because we know that we're not perfect. But the beautiful thing about it is God loves imperfect people. Everybody in the Bible who was a champion, whether we talk about David or Esther or whoever, you know what I mean, Abraham and Sarah, the many, people that we talk about often. There are famous people in the Bible,
Yes.
and then there's ones that we don't know so well. But all of them have some type of flaw, something that draws them closer to God, where you go, God, I'm good at this, but I suck at this.
Yes.
And this is still a very real part of me. What do I do? Well, I realized that, perfection is not real.
Yeah.
And broken people are beautiful. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
we realize, and I say we on purpose, realize our frailties, and we realize that I'm nothing without God. And so when you're able to bring that to someone, and someone is able to bring that to you, you feel safe. You feel like now we can help each other walk through life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever fears that you had from, whether you had both parents or not, or whether you never knew your father. I know some people who are in a situation where they didn't know mother or father. You know what I mean? And just trying to find a sense of self makes them latch on to people in an unhealthy way.
Right.
But knowing, again, it goes back to knowing who you are and building your relationship. Now, I'm not saying just because you build your relationship, you're going to understand things. There are a lot of moments in my life right now with my grown self where I go, Lord, what is going on? But right after I say, Lord, what's going on? I know he knows my beginning from my end. You know what I mean? I know that he said he'll honor his word above his name.
Yeah.
So if his word says he'd never leave me nor forsake me, I've got to stand in that. If his word says, I want you to prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper, that means you care about me, mind, body, and soul. You care about me making money. You care about me being in love. You care about my faith walk and how strong my faith is, what hits my faith, because sometimes we have to go through those blows to build up that strength, And when you recognize that, if you do mess up, if you do fail, just fail forward. You know, even if you do have a relationship that doesn't work, don't say, I'm never going to be in love again. So I'm going to pay attention to that next time. Lord, show me where I was wrong. Show me where it should. Because sometimes it's not about the people being wrong, just y'all wasn't right for each other.
Absolutely.
And that's okay.
You just let it learn.
Yeah. And so you learn the lesson and you keep moving forward. But you never cut yourself off from the possibility of love because of a broken heart. Now I'm different. I gave myself a short time to get over breakups. I was like, I'm not gonna be. Yeah, I'm back. I can't be sad anymore. No, I don't want to be. Which emotion am I choosing today? Did I choose to wake up? Did I choose to remember it? Did I choose to replay what he said, what I said, what the text message was? Did I choose to replay that, or did I restore myself by renewing my mind in the word? Did I renew my mind? Did I get around positive people? Did I, beef up my affirmations about me? Did I tell myself I'm going to get through this? Did I sing songs? There's certain songs that I love, but I just, when I was going through breakups, I just could I love Mary J, because it would just make me mad
and sad, and sometimes you got to watch out for the spaces that you allow yourself to stay in. Sometimes I believe that you do absolutely need times to feel through things, because feelings, though they aren't necessary, because they can be tricky. Your mind. Sometimes I have to be like, mind, okay,
calm down.
That was crazy.
That
was a weird thought. We're gonna bring that back. And what do we know to be true? And so I have to be very cognizant of what I'm letting into, even on social media. You can scroll through and be like, all of a sudden you see somebody getting shot or somebody doing something crazy and you're like, wow, okay, sign off. There's been so many things like that. And so, I believe in that.
Yeah.
And so as a woman in relationships and things like that, what do you think the biggest characteristics are to being in a successful relationship?
It is honesty, friendship, communication, patience, and being gracious, extending mercy and giving a person time to become who they're going to become. Because sometimes when you first meet someone, whether it is business or a relationship, an emotional relationship, sometimes you have to, that beginning stage is very, very crucial, you know? And so sometimes you overread or underread. So again, it goes back to patience. And I'll say for me and my husband, we're such good friends that even when times were ugly, he was who I wanted to talk to. And I'd be mad at myself about it because I'd spend so much time building and talking and friendship and learning so much about each other and each other's lives and each other's families. Like, we're so integrated. Like, if something happened, it would be an upset in my family.
Right. Everybody's family now.
Everybody's family now. You know what I mean? What do we do for Thanksgiving now? Because, you know what I mean? Do we not go? They not, you know what I mean?
They not invited.
Like, because I know, one of my sisters had she had a son, and I like his dad. And so when they broke up, we were like, we still want him to come over. She was like, no, he's not coming over. We was like, but he cool to us.
But that's
you know what I mean?
But that's the thing. Sometimes it just don't work like that, though.
I know, but that's your fault. That's still my friend.
That's my friend.
I like him. Whoosh. You know what I mean? So you got to think about all of that as you start integrating family, and then whether you make the decision to separate from if you built relationship, if you built with their family, that's hard.
It is hard. I had an ex like that who, like, I'm still close with his family. Like, we're still good, but it couldn't be as consistent or as in each other's lives as it was. Just out of respect for the new people who are coming in. You know, like, just, it's not fair that your mama still has my picture
in the house.
It's not fair. It's hard.
My mom dealt with that.
Yeah.
My grandmother didn't love my mother very much.
Oh, my goodness.
So I saw that example. I saw that I would come to my grandmother's house and it would be his ex-girlfriend and my dad, and their pictures facing each other.
Whoa. And so how did
my mom
do
was
that?
still
She's gracious.
My mom's in there. She's still gracious. Right. Like, when she got older and needed help, my mom still took care of her. Wow. My mom still looked out for her. And as it got later in the later years of her life before she passed, she apologized. She was like, "I'm so sorry. I was mean to you."
See? And that's
I'm so sorry. It is, but my mom had to endure a lot of years of that before she got to that. And I know some people don't have that kind of temperament,
and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. Everybody can't do that, but I think that's really dope to hear that story. Your mom seems like the nicest person ever. I love it.
Overcoming failure in our personal lives is difficult, but dealing with criticism in the public eye makes everything more intense. Whether you're canceled or dragged, dealing with public backlash is now a part of being a celebrity, and gospel artists are no stranger to it. Erica's recent visit to the Breakfast Club sparked a lot of conversation online. So we talked about that moment and how she deals with the unwelcoming side of social media. Check it out.
So you were on the Breakfast Club recently.
I was.
Which is cool. We love the Breakfast Club. I love you, Angela, and Charlamagne, and Envy. I love them. They're actually really dope people. But I know the readers and listeners of the Breakfast Club are very opinionated people. Mm-hmm. So how did you feel going on and, like, seeing the reaction from the words that you were saying? And, like, I know they asked you about the infidelity. Mm-hmm. So what was that like bringing that to that stage with them? Mm-hmm. And then also people had a problem with something that you said about women and dating.
Yeah, I was talking about sex before marriage. Yes. We were talking about all kinds of stuff, masturbation. Yes, we talked about
they took it there.
They got upset, child.
Yes.
Well, listen, if you are a believer, and then these words shouldn't be foreign to you.
Absolutely.
But if you are not, then of course none of it makes sense to you. Yes. I believe that we are jewels, we are precious, we are temples, and everybody don't deserve to come in your temple.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just don't believe that we should treat our bodies like anybody can share
everything.
This.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just believe that there should be commitment and love. I believe it should be marriage. Because, I mean, if you believe the Bible, you believe it. If you don't, then of course you'd have problems with the things that I said. But I mean, I wasn't surprised, because it's also a digital age, so you need clickbait. So the top of it has to make people go, "Ooh, child, what she say?"
Yes.
Talked a lot about soul ties and things like that. It was actually, I enjoyed the interview. They were super nice. Angela wasn't there, so I was just there with the guys. But I didn't have a problem with it. I would go back. I didn't, And a lot of people ask, "Are you scared? What if they ask you something crazy?" I was like, I'm too okay with my life to be afraid of you asking me something. Wow. So whether you ask me about the good or the bad, I'm so far past it till I don't get mad at it anymore. It doesn't frustrate me. That's a part of my story. It's why I'm so strong. It's why I'm so resilient. So, I don't give people a list of what they can't ask me in interviews. Yeah. I don't do that because I know what it is. You know what I mean?
And you know the game, and you understand it because you're literally on the radio yourself. So like look, I got to ask you, I love you, but I got to ask you this question.
Yeah.
And you can say no comment if you ever feel like you can't go there.
Yeah.
And so I loved the interview. I thought you did great. I mean, I know that show has such a big reputation. Yeah. But the three of them are really great people. Mm-hmm. I think they do a really good job.
Yes,
asking their questions.
Yes,
that's what they do.
But I think it's necessary.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't come here for the how you doing. I'm good.
Right.
When we know you've gone through something, tell us how you got through.
Yes.
But that means you have to be okay with facing what you went through. And if you're not, then you think you're trying to be funny because I ask about your divorce or your this or your whatever or the baby mamas or the drugs or whatever people have gone through. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so once you've grown to the maybe don't do interviews if you're not
if you're not ready
mature,
right?
Don't do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. And I actually went through a little dragging myself on one of the social platforms recently. Yes, child. It was about basically, and I don't have any bad feelings toward this young woman, but basically she felt the show that I'm on with Black Girl Beauty. Mm-hmm. She felt that we kind of overlooked her contributions to a certain term. And so she decided to drag me in the show all through the Twitter. Mm-hmm. And it was my first time ever having that experience. And so I was like, oh, okay. This feels crazy. I was like, I went to church the next day. I asked one of my pastors to pray with me because I was just like, I don't understand what I'm feeling. Like, I feel embarrassed, but I don't feel embarrassed because I know the intention. Yes. And I know that even I learned a really big lesson, two really big ones. Producer packets don't always have all the information. Yes. God. Second was I always, continuously do that work on my own. And then the second was really, even if the intention is there, the impact is not always going to be what you hope it to be. So when those crazy moments happen and people do disagree with what you say and, we live in this Twitter, I need 3,000 retweets, so I'm going to say the meanest thing type of age. Yeah. How do you get through it? How do you first of all, I was nervous to tweet again. I was like, oh my God, what if no one cares anymore? Yeah. Eventually I got over it. Yeah. But how do you not let that affect how you show up as a person?
And I mean this with love in my soul.
Yeah, deep down.
I could care less.
Oh, hallelujah.
Because it's your opinion.
Right.
There's a bajillion people in the world. Because listen, I've had that situation with somebody where literally at my job in radio, they were like, oh my God, if she doesn't like you, everything, people are going to not follow you. I said, she didn't put me here. God did.
Huh?
You know what I mean?
That's
and so people will disagree. Sometimes it is a test to see how mature you are because on the next level, the attacks will be greater. How will you respond? Sometimes you want to defend yourself. Sometimes you want to say, no, I didn't mean that. This is what it was. And I do go back and forth. I talk to my husband and my team. I go, should I retract? Should I make a statement? And sometimes we're like, just let's live it down.
Right.
Just keep being kind. Just keep being excellent. Just keep working hard. If you have a chance to interact with people, then have a conversation. I remember, defending my sister. There was a thing with somebody who's really big, digitally, and they were so concerned. Luckily, I was able to see that person, and I was like, we good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Listen, because you're well within your right to say what you want.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'll never harbor any bad feelings. People were coming up to me like, are you okay? And I'm like, girl, she disagreed. She disagreed. Some of the things went far, but I mean, that's people, okay.
Yeah. I mean, listen, my first big bout was the
dress.
No, even before the dress.
Child.
It was, you don't need a little more Jesus. You need a little more Tina.
I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, and I had to go, okay, do I shrink and go, I can sing? Or you just keep singing? Wow. I just kept singing.
And that album blessed me so much.
Yeah. And then you won a Grammy, then you won Stellars, and then you go on to, just keep going. Exactly. But what if I would have let it crush me? Some people some people wanted it just to crush you. You know what I mean? And I don't even look at the person. I look at the enemy.
Yes.
The enemy wanted to stop me because I have so much purpose. So I don't believe in fighting people. I look at the enemy who's behind the person and what are you trying to do? What are you trying to stop me from? What blessing is in the next business deal? What door? What big thing in my life is about to come that you're trying to distract me from? So when it hurts too bad and it's something else that you're trying to distract me from. Yes. So I'll say, God bless you, but I see you, enemy. Ooh. And I'm not going to let you win, and I'm not going to let you take me down. I'm not going to lose my peace or my composure or my purpose. I'm going to keep moving forward. You know what I mean? Now, that takes work and maturity.
Yes.
It's hard when somebody's coming at you. And listen, every day in my comments is somebody talking crazy.
And it's so crazy because the bigger you get, the more open it is for people to feel like they have a bigger opinion or better opinion. Yeah. But my problem has always with social media has always been it's such a great community. Like we put out this great stuff, and then there's always the underbelly, and it's always people. And I'm like, but would you say that
to my face?
To my face?
You got sometimes if you
profile. What's that? You got an egg. You ain't even got your face.
And then sometimes if you respond to them, especially me, if I go, oh, thank you for sharing your opinion, because I'm always
right.
God bless you. Thanks for following.
Yes.
I hate the book. Thank you for reading it.
Did you know
I don't
about
like your song. You downloaded it and listened to it.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Still a view.
And then they go, oh, I love you so much. They always take over like,
you're like, you just wanted my attention. Woo!
So sometimes we give it to them. Sometimes we don't.
Yes.
Sometimes I delete it if it's too ugly.
Yes.
And sometimes I leave it there
for people to see.
Because I know Team EC plays no games.
Okay.
We love you.
Okay. We love Team EC. Okay. Yeah, I'm such a non-confrontational person that I would never even be like that. Like, there were other things that came to light after all of the things that showed that I really wasn't that wrong. But I'm not the type to show a screenshot or like I like it just because I was like, at the end of the day, she had a valid point and I respect her and I heard her out. We spoke, but at the end of the day, like, I'm never in the business of tearing down other Black women.
Me neither.
Even if I've been on the other side of the tearing down. Even if somebody there at some point even said like, oh, there, you know, she's this corporate honey who gets all these things handed to her. Tell the people how long ago we met Erica when I was interviewing you.
Backstage at a concert.
Like 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Please don't play. I've been doing this for a while, baby. Don't think. Please don't.
Yes.
And that was the part that bothered me the most. Like, don't try to take away my work because you didn't like 3 seconds of a show.
Exactly.
Like, that's crazy to me.
You know, I always say if you say you loved me and you supported me, and one thing that doesn't align with you makes you not love me, you never really loved me in the first place. And so we have to understand that. I love my audience. I love it. But my strength and my resilience and my love for what I do can't come from them because they changed their mind.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's my song one day, it's somebody else's song tomorrow. And I don't take that to mean that you don't love me. It's just somebody else's turn.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I don't build so much of who I am on what people say.
Yes.
Because if they say the wrong thing, then what do I think of me? That goes back to being able to look yourself in the mirror and know who I am. I know what I meant. Or even be honest enough to say, I kind of messed up. Let me apologize.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I've gone to people and apologized. I've mended relationships. I'm really big on it. I don't believe in enemies and holding stuff. I can't, it doesn't feel good in my body.
That's why my friends were like, just ignore it. I was like, I really can't. Because like, I feel like I hurt her. And that's where I never want to stay. I never want to be like, ooh, like, because I wasn't raised to let ego lead. Right. And hate lead. I was raised to forgive and love. And if you say some things, hey, I didn't like that.
Yes.
I hear you though. And that's just how it's gotta be.
And people want to be heard.
Right.
And they want to be seen. Just acknowledge me. Acknowledge how I feel.
Yes.
Even if I don't feel like you, acknowledge how I feel.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so that's really important, especially when it comes to resolving issues. You know, this industry is small. You're gonna see them in an event.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Our events come around every year. So whether you'll be at this award or that, we honor this, you're going to see somebody.
Yes.
So what are you going to do?
Yes.
Some people go, well, I'll just never go because I don't want to see you. That's never been, I got to be able to be in the room with you and be okay. And that's when you know you're over something.
Yeah.
When you can be in the room with someone and not avoid them, you know what I mean? You can say hi and genuinely be okay. And that's what makes me feel good. Those relationships that I've been able to maintain and mend. And,
and keep it together.
That's maturity. You know what I mean? That's growth. That's being able to go through something horrible, learn a lesson, and when you see it again, you can identify it. Because the enemy's always going to bring it back.
Oh, I know.
And so it's like, okay, now how are you going to face this the second time?
Right.
You know what I mean? So luckily, I don't know if it was luckily or unluckily, when the white dress thing happened.
You was like, oh, okay.
I was like, I didn't mean, that's not what I was.
The dress was cute.
I was my mama curves.
Okay,
you know,
and that's the crazy part because I feel like church women are always very shapely, like
because we eat.
Okay, like, you want me to not be able to cook? What you want?
Right. But it allowed me the opportunity to talk about Christianity and sexuality, to tell women to be okay with your bodies, and everybody won't be okay with it as long as you are tasteful. And of course, I never performed in a dress like that. It was for an album cover, and I don't. You know, I don't do those kind of dresses at church. Like, that's not my
that's not your MO.
norm. But for the picture, we post.
Okay, I mean, and it's cute, and people talked about it, so it must have worked.
And then I ended up on everything, and my publicist was like, "I know you don't, but this is really good."
Right.
The album's coming out, and so let's just go to TMZ and Access Hollywood. Let's go.
Right.
So I was like,
it worked.
God used it. You know how the scripture says He'll work it out for your good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? All things work together. Yes. You know what I mean? It worked out. It worked out where I'm still talking about owning who you are, loving your curves, not being vilified by other people. You know what I mean? Understanding the difference between trying to be raunchy and ratchet and just being sexy and tasteful.
Yes.
I think that's beautiful.
Our voices have power in every space we enter, especially when we're being authentic to what it is we are called to do. One of my favorite things about following Erica on social media is how she allows her oldest daughter, Krista, to find her voice, literally and figuratively. Check it out.
I'm happy that she's aware of her faith in her writing, but you don't have to just write Christian music because you're a believer, Chris, okay?
Okay.
Whatever God gives you, that's what you write. If you write a beautiful song that changes the world, that doesn't say Jesus on the main line, Jesus is still in it because Jesus is in you. And what you write will always have his handprint on it because your gift and talent has come from him.
One of the things that I love following you and your family on social media, but one of my favorite things that you posted was this story, and you were talking to your daughter Krista, and she was saying, what if I don't want to make gospel music? And you were like, well, Krista, at the end of the day, whatever you make is okay because it's from God.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of young women who are believers and who work in different industries that aren't just faith-based also feel this need to always feel like, it has to always acknowledge God and say, God in the process. Tell me a little bit more about that experience and that conversation and why you believe that to be true, because a lot of us are struggling with that. Like, well, I don't know if I can do that because if God's not in it, then, so tell me a little bit more about like how you came to that conclusion for yourself.
Well, everything is not overtly Jesus and God.
Right.
But if you are talking about unity, that is a God principle and a God concept. If you are talking about love and you're talking about being patient without saying Jesus, God, you are still talking about a God principle and God concept. And I think that he gets the glory from that. And so I told Krista, you do what glorifies God, not just what feels good to you. So you have to ask yourself, do I want this, or is this what God wants me to do? And I think that's really important because everybody's not in the same field. Everybody's not going to work in church, and that's absolutely okay. I believe we need secret agents. That's what I call them. Christian secret agents. You go you be in a business room and you operate with integrity and you operate above bar and you go in that room and you pray before you get in there and you don't be ashamed of your faith and you grow and you expand into whatever area in life. You can do that, but it doesn't have to be, I'm going to make dresses, they're going to be Christian dresses. That's stupid in the first place.
Right.
I remember I had this experience. I was walking down the street in New York. Me and Tina were doing press. And by this time, I think we were on the third record. So it was like Yesterday and Heaven and that kind of stuff. So this guy says, yo, I love your music, but there ain't no gospel jeans, sister.
I can't.
I said, where you get the gospel jeans, brother? He was like, my bad. You look nice, Mom. I was like, thank you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So people, they just, they've not come to grips with that we're human. God put us in these beautiful packages, and we must be mindful of what we're saying. We must be mindful of what the message, because while God did give you the gift, you can use it wrong.
Yeah.
It's like me taking a hammer and using it to put in my earrings. I'm using it wrong.
Child.
So if God has given you a gift, you got to make sure you're using it for his glory, because people go, oh, he gave me the gift so I can use it any way I want. Well, that's not true. You know what I mean? I know you can't let your salvation run all over your occupation, so you don't go in your job hollering, is everybody saved in here? That's kind of dumb.
The bank, like,
right, the
hallelujah,
bank.
deposit this.
Right. Let your light shine.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Shut up sometimes. Let your light shine. So depending on where you're going, you got it. Come on the word.
Okay, look, Liz. Okay, I know.
Let your light shine, but let your life shine. And so if your life takes you into another realm, another film, another area, God, is this for me? Are you getting the glory? How are you getting the glory?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Even if it's not a Christian film or a Christian album, am I an influence in the studio? You know what I mean? Am I the person where they say she can pray for us? You know what I mean? I know her relationship with God is good. You know what I mean? I that's where we are influential and going in different areas. So Krista's doing a play right now, and it's not a Christian play.
It's okay.
And so she was like, Mom, some of the things are kind of sexual. I said, but are you a light though, Krista? That's my question for you. Are they influencing you, or are you influencing them? You know what I mean? Is it breaking you down? Are you thinking about compromising? Does that look tantalizing? And is it pulling you in? What is happening when you're in these environments, in these spaces? Yeah. Because everybody believes something different, right? And you believe what you believe. Don't back down. Don't shy away. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just let your light shine. So that's what I'm teaching her, to be prepared, because I know my kids will work in industry and I know that they will have influence. I'm just trying to prepare them now to be bold about who they are, but be very loving and kind at the same time.
I love that. Before we go, I got to ask you, so Erica Campbell is working day in and day out. You have a family, you have a husband, you're doing all these incredible things. What do you hope your legacy will be? What is the Erica Campbell, when people say your name, what do you hope is the word or the things that are associated with that?
I mean, I know this is not like a big fabulous word, but it's just, I was a nice person. I was good to people. I was caring, and genuine in my, efforts to encourage people, because I want people to know that they can do more than they think they can. You know what I mean? That it's possible to bounce back and recover from the things that life gives you. You know what I mean? That I had real moments with people. You know what I mean? I hate when I greet somebody and I'm saying hello to you and you're literally like looking over here like, just keep it. It's not real. It's okay.
Just keep it moving.
So I like to look in people's eyes and say hello for real and give them real hugs.
Yes.
And mean it.
Yes.
And let God get the glory.
Amen. Well, I thank you so much. Look, the kids are here.
The kids are okay.
And we're going to let you go. It's time to be mommy.
So y'all don't hear swings squeaking in the background.
Okay. But thank you so much for sitting with us. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you.
I love you too.
It's so good to see you, girl. We're going to be back later, okay? But we're going to let her go. Guys, make sure you go get More Than Pretty in stores now. The compilation album and the new single, Praying and Believing, in stores. Follow Erica Campbell if you don't. I mean, that's a sentence, so I'm just playing. But we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for watching Give You the Game with me, Gia Peppers. Make sure you purchase Erica's book, More Than Pretty, and be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can be the first to know when new episodes of Give You the Game hit YouTube. Thanks so much, guys. See you next time.